I sense something. A presence I've not felt since... Well, since ever, as this will actually be my first time talking Star Wars on the show, so let's fix this grievous disturbance in the bootleg zones with the Galaxy Cops. Not that long ago, unless you're like watching this video years later, in a Galaxy Cop, I don't know, like a foot or two away, it's Star Wars Bootlegs! Didn't want to use the music, copyright. That's right, it's the Galaxy Cops, and since these are Star Wars bootlegs, why not have the second A in Galaxy kind of resemble the Star Trek Starfleet insignia? Might as well cover two of your space bases, right? Guys, guess what's on the back of a Galaxy Cop card? This is pretty out there, so don't get too shocked. Well, it's at least better than a plain cardboard card back. They did at least add the warning and some symbols on the backside, including said onion. Not my bit, but apparently I have to say that. And here's the only company name attached to these Galaxy Cops, the distributor Royal Co., based out of Hong Kong. Unfortunately, that's a kind of generic name, and it's been used by other companies, so I couldn't find anything that directly linked to the Royal Co. that distributed the Galaxy Cops. They were probably a flash-in-the-pan company long since closed, and these Galaxy Cops came out in the 90s around the Power of the Force figures. There's also something pretty interesting about the way these guys were carded. So as you can see, these figures don't resemble a Stormtrooper or Darth Vader without these pieces. And these Galaxy Cop cards came with a kind of trap door on the back, which was just taped up so you could easily remove these. Maybe this was done just to get these in stores easier, as they wouldn't look like a Star Wars knockoff at first, and then they would add these in afterwards. Or maybe it's for more squeamish store owners so that they could remove the Star Wars piece and make it more of a generic figure. Because with those removed, these figures are definitely less blatantly Star Wars. Except for stuff like that obvious Darth Vader plastic imprint. And you know, that completely different Galaxy Cop, decade pigeon. I'm glad they duplicated the cockpit on both sides, though. Makes me completely unable to tell what that is. Well, here's a not Darth Vader and not Stormtrooper in their stealth getup. I do enjoy the fact that they're unmasked masks. Kind of look like Robocop. So it's almost like you get two knockoffs for the price of one with these guys. Sweet! And speaking of 2-in-1, the unmasked Vader kind of looks like a combo of classic Robocop and reboot Robocop. Now, save for the accessories and the heads, these guys use the exact same mold, but it seems there is a bit of a warping problem with the Vader I have. Oh yeah, Vader, you push out that sexy dark side ass. This also creates quite the issue with the right knee joint on the Vader figure versus the Stormtrooper. I don't know, maybe his spine was just broken. That looks like it hurts. But looking past defects, you can see that these guys are both using the same generic chest mold. Alright, now let's Vader and Stormtrooper up these Galaxy Cops. Come on, Vader can't be the shorter one, stupid mold defect Stormtrooper. That aside, this would be kind of a neat look for a higher ranking Stormtrooper. Darth Vader though, not so much. Alright, you stick them on the correct figures and you get your instant Darth Vader and Stormtrooper, the Galaxy Cops! Hey Sarge, did you go to your dentist appointment yet?
What? How the hell did you know about that?
The Force?
Impressive. Most impressive. But you are not a loose cannon yet.
I know. I'm just a rookie on the Force.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your partner.
He told me enough! He told me you killed him!
No, I am your partner.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Now, yeah, there's kind of a couple problems with how they realize these figures, one being the arm movement is kind of restricted. Well, I mean, unless you like the double shoulder look, maybe you do. This also causes a little issue with Vader's cape, as you can't put that on once you've actually put on the Vader helmet and stuff. Meaning the cape has to go under that stuff, which doesn't look quite right. The Darth Vader and Stormtrooper helmet and chest pieces look to have been bootlegged and blown up from their Powers of the Force figures. This shot also kind of looks like Take Your Kid to Work Day, doesn't it?
Wow, Tatooine sure is boring, Dad, but at least we got those power converters.
But Dad, you said you're gonna take me to Toshi's station to pick up some power converters.
No, Luke. Junior Vader is the new favorite because he takes after me more than you do. In fact, you have failed me for the last time, son.
I don't want to question your parenting methods or anything, boss, but don't you think that was a bit extreme?
Look, if they start to get that whiny, you need to discipline them quick.
Look, sir, dead kids! Hush hush now, Devin. Now, of course, where these are based on the same figure, they'd share some details anyway, but a lot of these points are so similar to the Powers of the Force figures, it looks like they definitely used them as a base, then blew them up and modified them slightly so that they could fit over this other figure. A side effect of that, though, is these guys seem to have put on some weight and it all went to their heads and necks. Also, their copy of Vader's eyes make him look a little more suspicious than he originally did. And of course, real Vader's cape doesn't look as stupid. Now let's look at the weapons, and what says Star Wars more than whatever the hell these pieces of trash are. Now, Galaxy Cop, Vader, and Stormtrooper both have square pegs in their fists, but that's not how they hold their weapons. Because the weapons all have that kind of awkward goes over their wrist tabs. Look, sir, I can sort of hold a gun more than meets the eye. This blaster here was the easiest to get one of them to hold since it only has the 2 tabs. All the rest of them feel like they want to break before they'll go on since their arms get a little too fat this point in. I'm really pushing this stupid thing hard. I give up. Whatever, one each is good enough. The Galaxy Cops. The quality on these guys is not the greatest. They feel slightly cheap and are a bit too lightweight, though it's not the worst I've seen. Despite having no leg articulation, they do have knee articulation, which is kind of an odd choice. The movement of the knee joints is a bit awkward as well, making the leg look, well, more like it's been broken rather than you're bending it. And of course, once these guys don their Star Wars character skins, their arm joints are partially obscured. A lot of these joints also feel a bit too loose, especially if these lightweight guns can pull them down a bit. Speaking of the guns, those tabs weren't exactly designed properly, so either they're annoying as hell to get on, or straight up can't be held. Both the actual figures use the exact same mold, except for the heads. There's no extreme differences between any of them, all looking like slight Robocop variations, but there seems to at least been 3 variants which could probably show up on either version of the figure. Also, with Vader Cop's massive mold disfigurement, the quality checks had clearly turned to the don't care side of the production. For this gimmick, these guys have to be generic figures until you put on their Star Wars costumes is a really interesting way to handle a knockoff figure and something I haven't really seen done. It's a pretty funny way to pretend you aren't knocking something off quite as blatantly until good.
Let the bootleg flow through you.
I'm guessing they only did Vader and a Stormtrooper in the Galaxy Cop series since they were the most well-known characters that would easily work in this style. Well, come to think of it, they probably could have stuck Boba Fett in there, and C-3PO too, really. You guys could have made the Galaxy Cop line so much bigger. Well, they did do a couple other Galaxy Cop figures, just larger versions of Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper. But we'll have more on those in another Bootleg Zones 8. Probably one of the weirder things besides the presto bootlego aspect of these guys is the trap door, allowing easy access to easily remove or pop in the Star Wars part of the figures from the package. 6. We got a rip-off Millennium Falcon and, amazingly, a Galaxy knockoff that has nothing to do with the Galaxy Warrior black hole. Now, I'm not sure if this is due to fade or if it's just inconsistency on their print since it's the same on both sides of the card, but the Stormtroopers one has noticeably more vibrant colors than Vader's. And in an odd way, the Galaxy Cop name, while initially just sounding kind of absurd, actually does make sense. Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers were a kind of police force for the Imperials. Just it wasn't a particularly nice empire they enforced the law for. Besides that, it's got a lot of pink and purple, so it's colorful at least, and I love that the Vader package has that classic Made in China golden sticker on it. 7. There's a bit of a size difference for these to work with most Star Wars figures, including the line they were partially bootlegging. They do look pretty good at first, but on closer inspection, they're a couple fatheads. 5. And the Bootleg Zones overall is 7! I love these Robocop-y weirdos that can decide to use the Force at any moment to Star Wars it up. I just wish that they'd been thought through and put together a little nicer though, and a KO lightsaber would have been nice for Cop Vader instead of those unholdable POSs.
Luke, help me take this mask off.
But you'll die.
No! I'll be alright. They'll clone me or something.
What?
I mean, let me look on you with my own eyes.
Alright, your funeral and our bonfire. What the shit?
Luke, you look like you've broken the law. You're under arrest by the authority of the Galaxy Cops.
No!
Robocop ripoff, not nearly as shocking as Black Stormtrooper, he is not. For Black Stormtrooper is the first black character ever in Star Wars, he is. That's the joke. Pardon me, rebel scum. I believe we're needed on set. Might we inquire where The Force Awakens is being shot? I guess it's true what they say, Chewie. You really can't go home again. Yeah. Yeah.